This is a video recording of a live evaluation webinar presented by Dr. Frankie Rizzo of FARA. The presentation covered Lesson 1 in the FARA course, Operator Qualification Regulations. A learning objective is a key or critical concept that must be mastered to master the overall task or lesson. This lesson has been divided into 12 learning objectives. The content from the presentation for each learning objective is contained in its own video. Contact FARA for the schedule of upcoming live FARA evaluation webinars. Details of this video, the course. This video is part of a FARA course, Operator Qualification Regulations. This video is part of the first lesson in the course, Operator Qualification Regulations Overview. This video is part of the first learning objective of that lesson, Operator Qualification Regulations. This video is part of an evaluation webinar presented on 5/12/21. The lead instructor for this evaluation webinar was Dr. Frank Rizzo, PhD, PE. Okay, the basic concept, I'm just going to review very quickly and then go through a poll so that we can check your knowledge. So fundamentally, the operator qualification requirements require that anybody that's performing a covered task needs to have OQ training, specific training for the task that he needs to perform, and evaluations and certification that that person can perform the task according to the contractor's OQ program, the operator's OQ program. Okay, so let's say it again. A company needs to have an OQ program that says how they will qualify, train, and evaluate personnel that are going to perform tasks that are in their OQ program. And that's what this program is all about. Okay, so let's go through some poll questions and see if we have a general agreement as to each of these important concepts. Okay, so we're looking now at this first learning objective, and what we're going to do in each one of these sections is do a brief overview of what was in the lecture, and then answer poll questions that will give you a chance to tell me what the answers are to each of these things that we've discussed. Now, again, the first thing to understand is the whole lesson is covering a task, and now we're looking at particular learning objectives within that task, and what we're trying to evaluate is, do you understand what the operator qualification requirements really are? Okay, so you should see the poll now. And the first question is, personnel who have been certified by NACE or other technical organizations meet the PHMSA OQ requirement and are authorized to perform PHMSA covered tasks. Is that true or false? Okay, if you'd answer that. The next thing is, the NACE certification meets some, but not all of the PHMSA requirements for operator qualification of personnel performing PHMSA covered tasks. Please answer that if, as you have time. Okay. And then select the responses that apply to PHMSA operator qualification programs. Each operator that uses personnel to perform covered tasks must have an operator qualification program. Okay, answer that as if that's the correct one. The next one is PHMSA 49 CFR 192 contains the PHMSA operator qualification requirements for gas pipeline. Okay, click that if that is a correct response. NACE certification can be used instead of PHMSA operator qualification requirements when performing covered tasks. And please answer that if that's one that applies to the PHMSA operator qualification program. And personnel with at least 10 years of pipeline related experience are not required to meet PHMSA operator qualification requirements. Okay, so the first question question 1.1.1, everybody answered that as false. Okay, and what's false about it, Ed? What do you think makes that false? Oop, I got to turn his microphone on. Okay, Brian, could you answer that? I don't think Ed's mic is on.
Are you talking about the first one?
Yeah.
False.
Okay, and why is it false?
Because the NACE certification doesn't cover the OQ requirements.
Okay. Anybody have any comment to that one? Okay. The next one is kind of mixed answers that we got. NACE certification meets some but not all of the requirements for operator qualification. Let's see. Ed is not there. Brian. Oh, Brian, you're not Pixel 5?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking to you through.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. It's showing your mic.
But I'm listening to you through the computer.
Okay. Well, anyhow, the issue with 2 is the NACE certification does meet a lot of the requirements for operator qualification, but there are certain pieces missing. So it's not like somebody that is NACE certified needs to throw away that certification. What is involved is they need to be able to perform the technical tasks, and NACE may cover that in a particular task, but it doesn't cover many of the OQ requirements kinds of things. So the abnormal operating conditions and the evaluations. So the correct certification that makes an individual really qualified to do all of the things PHMSA requires is the combination of a NACE type certification of the technical issues and the OQ certification that they understand the OQ tasks. Okay, number 3, everybody agreed that the first response was a valid OQ program. The only about 30% agreed that the PHMSA 49 CFR 192 contains the OQ requirements for gas operations. That is correct. It does contain the regulations for gas. 49 CFR 195 covers it for liquids. Okay, NACE certification can be used in terms of instead of PHMSA operator qualification requirements when performing a covered task. No, the PHMSA requirements require that you meet the OQ program requirements of that operator to be able to perform the task. And so the NACE certification alone is not enough unless it meets all the PHMSA requirements. Okay, personnel with at least 10 years pipeline experience are not required to meet PHMSA qualification requirements. Nobody answered that as a correct response, and that is correct. And this causes a lot of consternation in the industry. When you say an individual is qualified to perform a covered task, you're not really addressing whether he knows how to do it and whether he is a knowledgeable person and whether he's going to get correct results. That's not the issue. The issue is to perform a covered task, the individual has to meet the OQ requirements of that operator's OQ program. So being qualified has nothing to do with, so as an example, I might teach a class to the city of Palo Alto to qualify them to perform a particular task. But unless I took the exam that is consistent with CPA's training and evaluation for that task, I would not be qualified to do the task, even though I trained everybody on how to do the task. You see the distinction? Okay. Here are the results of the poll. Okay. Everybody okay with that?